Hey, what up, what is up, everybody, and welcome back to the CornbreadReturns YouTube channel. Thank you so much for coming out. Really appreciate it. Welcome back. If you've been here before, welcome. Well, if you haven't been here before, welcome. If you've been here before, welcome back to the How-to Objects in Space tutorial series. In this episode, we will be talking about stealth. What is it? How does it impact the game? How, all of the different components that go into it. What impacts how stealthy versus unstealthy you are? How can you customize that in your ship, etc., and so on and so forth. So let's get right into it. Right now, I have just undocked from this station. I am very close. I believe I am in, I'm in Mangella or Mangella, depending on how you say it. Or Magella, or Magella, however you say it. I say it Magella. I think that makes the most sense. I have just undocked from the station. I am just floating in space, right? I'm floating in space. And I think this is a good chance to show off all this different things in stealth. So first and foremost, the first thing you need to know about stealth is how to tell if you're stealthy or not, or how to tell how stealthy you are. And eventually for this tutorial, we are going to go ahead and actually just jump to a different system so I can show you some of the different aspects without getting in trouble. So I'm just going to go ahead and power up my jump drive for now. You can see my jump drive is powering up. Great. But let's just first start with what is stealth. Basically, stealth, pretty self-explanatory. It's how sneaky your vessel is. How visible are you to the other ships in your map? How visible is your ship and the components on your ship to possible pirates, possible authorities, or just other freight vessels, anything like that that's going on, right? And the way that you see how stealthy you are is by this indicator right here. This is the stealth status. The higher up and more red it is, the less stealth you are. I am very visible right now. I have no stealth whatsoever. Everybody can see me. Now, the reason everybody can see me is not just because all my systems are on and I'm generating a lot of, heat and emissions and stuff like that, which we'll talk about in a second. It's mainly the reason that we are very unstealthy is because we have our IFF active. Our IFF is just this beacon that blasts our signal out to everybody in the region saying, hey, I am here in sectors that are like main sectors where there are authorities and stuff like that, like Magella here, Maru, Leo, Taga, all these things that are like these main systems, right? We are required to have our IFF on. Otherwise, the authority vessels will come up. If they detect us without our IFF on, they will come up and they will issue fines to us, and we'll have to pay those fines. We definitely don't want that to be the case, right? But, so anyway, I am very unstealthy right now because I'm broadcasting my signal to everybody. Now, I mentioned before we move on, I'm actually going to jump to a different system just so I can show you kind of how IFF impacts our stealthy nature. So I'm right here right now. I think I can go to JMY-40B without even moving it. Yes, I can. So I'm going to go ahead and calculate the solution, and we're going to go ahead and do this jump. I'm going to speed up time a little bit to go get this jump as fast as possible because it's not super important to our thing, but what will be. So we're going to go ahead and jump. So we're jumping to a non-main system. You saw my stealth bar. When everything was off, you saw that go down, right? Now we are at this. As our systems power up, we're still there. But notice how we lost a bar of stealth. That's because we are no longer required to have our stealth active, or our IFF active, excuse me. We are actually no longer broadcasting ourselves to space. So we're no longer broadcasting a signal to everybody else in the system that, hey, here's where we are, and all that stuff. And that's why we actually gained some stealth, right? However, we're still very not stealthy. And that's because we have all of our systems running right now. And when you have systems running, all of the different components on your vessel and the modules and all that kind of stuff, they emit, exhaust, heat, energy. They have emissions essentially, and that can give away your position. So, oh, excuse me, looks like one of my weapon systems has become broken, which sucks. Oh, actually, I knew that. I actually did know that. But anyway, all these modules will have emissions. Every single one of them will emit some kind of stuff. And if you open it up, you can see this is emitting 2.7 decibels. I'm assuming decibel watts or something like that. But that is its emissions rating, right? Go to my Helm computer, same thing. It is emitting 2.50, right? So all of these things together emit a certain amount of, energy or all that kind of stuff, and that will essentially lead to, just our total emissions, right? So, and by doing that, by having those emissions, we are more visible to anybody in our thing, and that is represented by this. So just thinking about that then, okay, so let's say you get into a sticky situation and you're like, man, I've got guys hunting me, there's a possible pirate around, I'm carrying cargo, he's going to want to murder me, all this kind of stuff, and I want to go stealthy, I want to improve my stealth. Well, that's where this handy dandy little blue button comes into. This is our stealth mode. They call it EMCON, emissions control. I'm assuming that stands for emissions control. I don't know completely, but that would basically mean emissions control, right? Shut down some non-essential items to make ourselves as invisible as possible. So I'm going to go ahead, for the sake of this video, you can also press E. That's the short code for this, just hitting E. Go ahead and do that. Look what happened. I have now significantly improved my stealth, down to 3 bars in the green. So I am being very quiet right now, but also notice that my battery power is draining. Why is our battery power draining? Well, our battery power is draining because our reactor is off. Our reactor has been disconnected, and it, by far, of all the things, it has some of the largest emissions. You can see 80 emissions, right? Actual is 131 because our reactor is quite powerful. I've done some upgrades, and so you can see we're really bleeding our battery power fast because, we have a little bit, and we also have a lot of components. But now I've gone really, really stealthy, right? My comms is off. My main helm computer's on. My weapon system is on. All that stuff is on. So by having all these items on, along with our sensors and all that stuff, we're really eating into our power. So I'm going to go ahead and hit that again and repower up our generator, and we're back out of this, but we are generating power again and storing the batteries, right? So that's how we activate our stealth mode. Now, the second part of this is this. How stealthy you are and how much and how you want to impact that stealthiness more or less is how many components are still running when you hit that button. Now, generally speaking, turning your generator off is kind of a baseline requirement of being stealthy. No matter what, you're going to have to turn that generator off if you want to gain any significant amount of stealth and really have it be effective to your other people. But man, I'll tell you, I hit that stealth button and I really didn't get a lot of time. I didn't get a lot of time at all in stealth mode, and I don't really like that. I want to be able to stay stealthier for longer. Well, that's a great thing because that's something we can definitely achieve, and we do that by customizing what is on and what is off during emissions control, right? This is anything when this is lit up, this is the button to turn it on during emissions control, right? So I could have my reactor stay on during emissions control. It kind of defeats the purpose because we wouldn't really be controlling our emissions at that point. But for the sake of, just this, we can customize it to that point. Batteries obviously need to stay on during emissions control because this is what we're going to be running off of. We're going to be running off of our batteries entirely during that mode, during our stealth mode, right? So that's just kind of set. These things, I generally tend to keep this off during stealth, keep these on during stealth, but anything beyond that is kind of fair game. What about our weapon systems? Well, it really depends on what you're doing, but generally speaking, during our little sneaky stealth mode, I think for the most part, unless you're doing bounties or something like that, you can actually keep these off. So by doing that, we have now reduced the power. What about our jump drive? Right now we have that on off, and we're definitely going to keep that off. What about our arm? We have that also off. What about our countermeasures? We'll keep that off as well. Our sensors will keep on. Our helm computer will keep on. Our MPD will keep on. But you know what? We really, in our communications is off. You know what, though? I really don't think I need the helm computer when I'm doing this, right? Helm computer telling us our status and stuff like that. Let's go ahead and hit that off. Sensors, we don't really need that. We just need our navigation. That's not true, actually. Sensors is really good, but let's just say for the sake of it, we're going to turn that off. Now, if I go over here and I do the same thing and I hit my stealth mode, I'm going to click that. Look at our stealth bar now. We are like ghost silent now. We have no communications because we turned it off. We have no helm computer because we turned it off. We have no sensors because we turned it off. All we have is our handy dandy nav computer just to let us know where we are. But and that is it. That is it. We have no weapon systems. We have no nothing else. But all we have right now on basically is our navigation computer and our batteries. And you can see that by these indicators right here. But you can also see that we've reduced our power draw significantly, so we can stay stealthy for longer. We can stay stealthy for a lot longer. And we've basically gone into ghost mode, right? You saw it was 3 before, now it's 2, and went from green to blue. We are virtually undetectable in this state. Unless someone gets really damn close to us or has super duper good sensors, they have essentially no chance of detecting us. And if we were in, say, like a dark nebula, we would be absolutely invisible, no chance, right? But this is not really a practical mode, right? Because we can't even, not only can we not like see really anything, we have no sensors, so we can't like see if anybody else is around, right? So in my opinion, it's usually best to at least have your sensor systems on during stealth mode. So I can go and fire it up again, and now we're back in this. It's calibrating our array, so we have navigation and sensors at the very least, right? So we can see anybody around us. But that, obviously, that's going to impact our stealth mode, right? But green, 3 bars of green is still pretty damn stealthy, and if we were in a nebula, we would also, again, be very, very, very hard to detect. So that is kind of the basics of stealth mode, right? Controlling what you want to control, what's on, what's off, all that kind of good stuff. So what if I wanted to take it to the next level? Well, that's a really good question. So the next level beyond this is really the components you're using in your actual things, right? Everything, and I highly recommend checking out my upgrading video, my upgrading your modules, upgrading your ship video, because it explains kind of the different impact that modules can have. But let's just say for a second, we wanted to go into this weapon system and open her up. I already had it opened up because we have some damaged components here, right? All that kind of stuff, so I wanted to fix that. But let's just say for a second there that we're not really worried about this. Let's go ahead and do that just for the sake of it. Get this thing back up and running. It's now running. Every component has emissions. And you can see it right here, plus 6% on this individual module, right? So this is our weapon system. So this module, this weapon system, emits 2.68 right now, right? And this adds 6% to that just by existing, right? Just by being in this thing. This hap node only adds 1%. This hap node adds 4% because this is a shittier part, right? By replacing this, I've actually decreased the emissions of this weapon system when it's on, right? So that's kind of the next level of, and I talk about this a little bit in that upgrading video, but if you want to decrease your emissions, using better components in your actual parts is another way you can actually decrease the emissions of your vessel and thus increase the effectiveness of your stealth mode, right? Because the more components you can have operating and still be stealthy, the better, because you can have more sensors, you can keep your weapon systems on possibly, you can do all this kind of stuff, and so you'll still keep as much on while still being stealthy at the same time. That's the ideal scenario. Now, it certainly is a balance, and this is all about finding that balance. Personally, I like to target having quite a few systems operational and having this thing be at 3, right? So I could probably turn my helm computer on during stealth mode, my nav computer, and my sensors, drop the communications, even maybe keep my weapon system on during that, and still do that. Now, I will say that puts quite a strain on my batteries, right? So go there. I'm still in the 3 stealth. I have my, you can see I have my, I would normally have my weapon system on if it was actually functioning properly. Let's just ignore that for now. But the weapon system would be on. I still have 3 bars of stealth. I don't have communications, but I don't really need it for the most part in that situation. I have my sensors, my navigation, everything else is running. Now, it's draining battery pretty quickly because I don't have a very good battery setup. But like I said, at least I have all of these things running, right? I have these things available to me. I have my weapon system available. I have all this stuff available to me, and that's a really good thing. That makes it so I can use use a lot of things. It can detect other vessels. It can do all that kind of stuff while still being pretty stealthy, right? So it's all about finding that personal balance to you, and everybody will have their own preferences, but that is the basics behind customizing it. You know, power draw, battery things, how to activate stealth, how to measure your stealth, and I think that will pretty much cover everything in this video, guys. If you have any more questions, always leave them in the comments. That goes for this entire tutorial series, guys. If you have any other questions, I will do my best to answer them in the comment section below. A like, a subscribe, a comment, a question, any of that would be most appreciated, guys. I just ask that you consider it to help support the channel. But that is kind of Stealth 101 of objects in space. Again, thanks so much for coming out, guys, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.